From Sonnen's battery charges to GSP on today's trash talking fighters and Jon Blachowicz stepping back into the octagon. And don't forget to subscribe to keep up to date on the latest fight news. Let's get to it. 1. As details over Chael Sonnen's hotel battery emerge, Jones calls out MMA media and fighters. Jon Jones has had a tumultuous 12 months from sitting on the sidelines after vacating his light heavyweight title and moving up to heavyweight to getting kicked out of his longtime gym, Jackson Wink MMA, to a hotel altercation that became very public and saw a lot of condemnation thrown his way. The 34-year-old Jones was arrested last September on charges of misdemeanor battery, domestic violence, and tampering with the vehicle, just hours after a UFC Hall of Fame ceremony as he headbutted a cop and got pretty mouthy with police. He was accused of hitting his now former fiancée, but charges on that were later dropped. Former UFC fighter Chael Sonnen condemned Jones's actions pretty quickly after. Then, this past December, just a few months after Jones's arrest, Sonnen was detained by police but not arrested, as he was allegedly part of a hallway brawl at a different Las Vegas hotel. At the time, all we knew was that it involved his wife and that he was facing several misdemeanor charges of battery, which were later dropped. Right after that, Jones spoke about Sonnen, and UFC fighter Dan Hooker came out and defended Sonnen's actions, saying that it was to defend his wife. Days after Sonnen's altercation hit the news wires, former fighter Brendan Schaub said the whole thing took place because there was a couple who was trash talking his wife. Now, months later, police have refiled the charges against Sonnen and included a felony count of battery by strangulation on top of 10 battery misdemeanors. It stems from a civil suit filed by the couple who allegedly were part of the whole thing and claimed that a drunk Sonnen beat them up without provocation, something that left a female with blood in her mouth, according to the suit. Sonnen is accused of throwing the female up against the wall and punching her in the face before he allegedly turned on security and hotel staff. Now, Jones fires back at his detractors, calling out Dan Hooker, Brendan Schaub, and the MMA media, claiming hypocrisy over condemning his actions but not Sonnen's. In a series of since-deleted tweets, this is what Jones said. At Dan the Hangman, Brendan S., is this what you guys are jumping down my throat about? Defending honor? Man, everyone and their mom covered my story when I was an asshole in Las Vegas. Sonnen allegedly attacks his wife, another woman, along with like 5 men and crickets. Hooker did respond to Jones by saying this in a tweet. Explain how this makes you any less of a piece of shit. As of this video, Schaub has yet to respond to Jones. Sonnen, meanwhile, is set to appear in court on April 27th. But what do you think about this whole situation involving Sonnen? And do you agree or disagree with Jones? Let us know in the comments below. 2. GSP says fighters today take trash talking too personal. When Georges St-Pierre finally retired from MMA as the middleweight champion, he did so knowing he was on top of the world. It was his second retirement, as he first hung up the gloves in 2013, vacating the welterweight title he successfully defended 9 straight times. His second retirement came 4 years later when he took one fight for the middleweight belt and won, beating Michael Bisping by rear naked choke in 2017. Throughout his whole career, GSP was involved in numerous high-profile fights that saw a ton of trash talking. But today, he believes that fighters are getting and taking it much too personally. He said as much during an interview with the MMA Hour this week. This is what he told Ariel Helwani in the interview about today's trash talking fighters.
Things get out of hand. I think guys, they take it too personal. I mean, for me, even it never mattered what my opponent was saying to me. For me, it's not personal. It's about business. And the more he was trash talking me, in a way, the more I was making money.
Later in the interview, GSP actually thanked all of his opponents who kept trash talking him and building up the fight because, in a different way, they were creating hype. And this hype led to more eyeballs, which led to more money as he continued in his long and storied career. GSP is the holder of several records and is one of the GOATs of MMA, so it's interesting to see his take here given the caliber of fighter he is and the type of athletes he took on in the octagon, from Nate Diaz to Johnny Hendricks and so many others. Do you agree with GSP that fighters today take the trash talking too personally? Let us know in the comments below. Before we get to our next story, take a second to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on the latest fight news. 3. UFC Vegas 54 gets their headline fight, Jon Blachowicz versus Aleksander Rakic. A light heavyweight clash between former champion Jon Blachowicz and Aleksander Rakic is set to headline the UFC Vegas 54 card on May 14th. The fight could have title shot implications, and both Rakic and Jon are in tip-top form and atop the light heavyweight rankings. Jon hasn't fought since he dropped the title to Glover Teixeira last October, tapping out to Glover's rear naked choke. Just before that fight, he had been talking about potentially facing the surging Jiří Procházka after Glover, but it was not to be as Jon lost to a significant underdog in the bout. He'll be looking to get back to his winning ways against the 30-year-old Serb-Austrian Rakic, who has won 2 straight fights, both against former title challengers in Anthony Smith and Thiago Santos. He's currently 6-1 in the UFC, his lone loss against Volkan Ozdemir back in December 2019. Still, Rakic is ranked number 3 in the light heavyweight division. With Jon being a former champion and Rakic knocking on the title shot door, it wouldn't be surprising to see the winner of this fight take on the winner of the scheduled UFC 275 main event between champion Glover Teixeira and Jiří Procházka. But what do you think about this fight between Blachowicz and Rakic? And who do you think will win? Let us know in the comments below. There's always so much going on in the fight world, and we got it all here for you on MMA Rumor. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, and hit the notification bell to keep updated with all things MMA. Thanks for watching.